Kuzuzombo, welcome to Bhutan e-learning project. My name is Kinzongachu and this is a geography lesson for Key Stage 4 classes 9 and 10. In this session, we are going to briefly explore on trade, transport and communication. Before we start with today's lesson, let me state some of the lesson objectives. By the end of the lesson, I expect all our students of Key Stage 4 to define trade, transport, and communication. Right? Two advantages and disadvantages of trade, transport, and communication. Trade is a basic economic concept, which means it is a system of exchanging goods with goods or exchanging goods with money. In simple terms, trade basically means buying and selling of goods. We also have another concept that is a barter system. So in olden days, our parents they used to exchange goods with somebody's goods, which means exchange of goods with other goods. This is known as barter system. In olden days, the trade link for Bhutan is limited to Tibet in the north and India in the south. With Tibet, Bhutan traded rice, wheat, desho, dried fruits, and barley flour. They took all these items to Tibet. In return, they brought silk, brocades, brown salt, and jewels. With India, our traders took the handicraft items and in return they brought sugar, soap, and metal utensils. There was no modern transport system until 1960s. Before that, our traders they used the mule caravans to trade their goods with Tibet. They faced a lot of challenges. In the north, since it is very cold, the continuous snowfall sealed their roads in the winter. In other part of the year, there must be some rovers. It instilled a sense of fear in our traders. Towards the south, when our traders were trading with India, they had to cross through the jungles. In the jungle, the hot and humid conditions in the south and malarial infected jungles posed a risk for our traders. A lot of wild animals, leeches. Now, this is all about the trade in olden days. Modern trade involves the exchange of goods with money. Okay, the exchange of goods with money in larger quantities with large number of countries. Modern trade is dominated by the developed countries. And these countries, they made progress in manufacturing goods and have efficient transport system. They have good communication network system. The developed countries, they exported cars. They exported the spare parts for these cars. They exported electronics. They exported textiles. They exported medicines in larger quantities. Which means when they export these ready-made goods, they are making a lot of money. On the other hand, we have the poorer countries, the countries that exported raw materials and other agricultural goods. Example, they exported fruits and vegetables. They exported dairy and poultry products. They exported timbers and they exported grains. Can you see the difference between developed countries and poorer countries? The trade in Bhutan, the major trading partner was India, our neighboring country, right? Bhutan imported goods from India instead of exporting manufactured goods, which means we import a lot of goods from India, such as fuel, vegetables, groceries, other food items, electrical goods, toiletries, motor cars, motorcycles, medicines, agricultural machineries, and the textile goods. But we export electricity, carbides, timbers, and the fruits, which means we're importing more and exporting less. Advantages of trade. So, trade can increase competition and also lower the market prices, which means when there's a lot of traders, it is going to be a competition. As a result, they are going to lower the market prices of the goods. Secondly, the advantage of trade is the quality of goods and services will definitely increase. Thirdly, the trade can create job opportunities. And every country can get goods and services they need. So these are some of the advantages of trade. Let's look at the disadvantage of trade. Unemployment, which means when the other countries were able to produce goods at cheaper rate, the workers working in the home country lose their job. Secondly, certain industries do not get a chance to grow, mainly because the goods are produced at cheaper rate in other countries. That is the disadvantage of trade. And the other disadvantage of trade is the cheaper goods from the well established industries will hamper the sales of local products. And usually, the local products were sold at higher prices. And people always go for goods at lower prices. So, this is all about trade. Now, let us talk about transport network in Bhutan. Out of the three modes of transport, land, air, and water, in Bhutan we have only two. We have only two types of transport system. The first one is the road transport. The second one is the air transport. Transport is a network where it carries goods or people from one place to another by means of vehicle, aircraft, railways, and ship. So in Bhutan, the most common form of transport system in the road. So all road networks in Bhutan are connected with Indian roads. And four commercial hubs, Gilefu, Phuntsning, Samti, and Samsonga. These are the entry points for both trade and transportation from India to our country. And through these commercial hubs, the roads they proceed into our country. They follow the river valleys and they connect most of the settlements and districts. That's why we have the road network in Bhutan. So let me give you some advantages of transportation. It saves our time, which means we can reach to a particular place in short period of time. When we have good transport system, we can transport the heavy things with the machines. We can travel to many places as we wish. Now, disadvantage of transportation is definitely the accident. The accident may cause death and injuries. It can cause traffic jam in the town because there are a lot of cars. It can cause pollution, air pollution, noise pollution. Transportation is very expensive. We cannot produce or we cannot manufacture cars in our country. That's why transportation is very expensive. and it cannot be afforded by all Bhutanese. The third topic is communication. So, communication is exchanging of information by speaking, by writing the information, or using other modes of communication system. In Bhutan, we did not have a good communication system in olden days. Before the modernization period in Bhutan, the exchange of information depended on humans. The information has to be communicated by humans. Therefore, that was very slow process of communication. Now, as the modernization period in Bhutan has started, we have lot of communication systems. The first means of sending information from place to place was the wireless communication. It's a means of communication using a device without a wire. So it was started in 1955. Then slowly in early 1960s, after the completion of the first motorable roads, Bhutan got introduced to telephone. Unlike wireless communication in telephone, the information from one person to another is passed through the electrical circuit. By mid 1960s, almost all the offices in our country were connected with telephone networks. Now, after telephone, the other means of communication the Bhutan got introduced to was telegraph. So telegraph was established in 1969 to enhance the communication process, which means until 1980s, wireless, telephone, and telegraph were the fastest means of communication within Bhutan. Communication with other parts of the world was done through postal services. So by 1984, Bhutan was linked with other countries through Indo-Bhutan microwave communication by India. Subsequently, in 1986, telex communication was started in Bhutan. So telex here means a system for sending and receiving typed messages electronically. Telex is primarily a point to point system that uses a keyboard to transmit typed text over telephone lines. It was in later 1988 the satellite Earth station was commissioned in Thimphu. This gave us more access to rest of the world in terms of communication. Now people in Bhutan can now communicate directly with many countries of the world. So the one thing is the digital microwave system installed in Thimphu marked a revolution of communication history in Bhutan. Now it came to 1993. The internal telephone networks expanded. First, we had telephone networks in Thimphu and Phuntsling. Then slowly from Thimphu, it started expanding to the nearest Songkhaks, to the eastern Songkhaks. Now, the entire kingdom is connected. 1999, on 2nd June, Bhutan formally started the internet services and the national television services. The internet and the national television services was the fastest means of communication, which means something that happened in other part of the country is known to the different part of the country through internet, through national televisions. And finally, in 2003, we got the mobile services. And B Mobile, Bhutan Telecom introduced its services for the welfare of the people to ease communication in 2003. These are some of the means of communication system in Bhutan since 1955 till date. So mass communication is a type of communication network which can spread the information quickly among masses across the globe. And the news and the information, other parts of the world, can be heard through the form of media called mass media. So, mass media because it reaches wide ranges of audiences. Some of the examples of mass media are television, mobile phones, radio, internet, and newspaper. So mass media spread information quickly from its point of broadcast or publication to its audiences. Now, let us look at some importance of mass media. First, so it helps to understand the world around us. Secondly, it informs and advises people about the new techniques of farming, raising livestock, and healthcare. Thirdly, it provides us with up to date news. So, these are some of the importance of mass media. Now, let us look at some advantages of communication. Communication pass messages in short period of time. It's a quick feedback. We don't have to wait months and months to receive the feedback. Money saving. Now, disadvantages of communication. It creates miscommunication. It creates misunderstanding. And in certain cases, communication cannot express our information. There is a risk of leakage of secret information, which means using these communication systems, there is a chances that our secret information will be leaked, will be known by all viewers. Let us look at the impact of transport and communication. Due to development of transport and communication system in the country, it helps to strengthen and expand the trading network. In the past, when there was no modern transport system, people had to walk. Now they don't have to walk. It allows people to move from one place to another easily and to take their goods at cheaper rate. So when exchange of goods and information between people of different places happens, it brings changes in both places, to this place, to that place. This is called spatial interaction. In the past, there was little interaction among the people due to undeveloped transport and communication system. At present, there's more interaction with the people from different places for different purpose because of the improved transport and communication system. As a result, this brings new changes in different places to different people. And we have a lot of interaction between the people of different places. Now, trade, transport, and communications are interlinked. They are interlinked. To make this very clear, let me narrate an incident or a short story. Abdorji is a businessman, a trader from Ongdi. He communicates with Abkarma, another trader in Timbu, and seeks information on the demand and the supply of local vegetables in the market. Now, they communicated. They asked information on the demand and supply of local vegetables in the market. That is communication. Now, after knowing the need of the local vegetables in Timber Market, Abdoji hires a taxi and brings his local vegetables to Timbu. What did Abdoji do? He brought his local vegetables to Timbu by hiring a taxi. Now, Abdoji and Abkarma communicating to each other, communication. Then, knowing need of local vegetables in the market, Abdoji brings his goods produced in his farm to the market in Timbo. This becomes trade. He hires a taxi. So, trade, transport, and communications are interlinked. Let us briefly review what we have discussed in today's lesson. First, we have learned about trade as a system of exchange of goods with goods and goods with money. We also discussed about the advantages and disadvantages of trade. We discussed about transport. We discussed about advantages and disadvantages of transport. The third topic we discussed was communication, the different forms of communication system in our country from 1955 till date. We also discussed about how trade, transport, and communications are interlinked. Before we close today's lesson, let me give you some homework to explore more on trade, transport, and communication. These are some of the questions that you need to answer. Until then, see you in the next lesson. Thank you.